going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's me, Mikey Pipes. Friday. Love me Fridays. Oh! Hallelujah. Love me Fridays. The 12th of January, 2025. 6 minutes after 6 o'clock here in the morning in the great communist state of New York. Yesterday evening, from starting around 5:15, 5:30ish to around 7:20. I know it was 7:20 because I walked into Donna Cola last night at exactly 7:30, while my dinner companion showed up at the same exact time in the Uber. It was awesome. Had a great dinner last night. But yesterday evening, before dinner, I hosted semester 2 of the Mikey Pipes HVAC training facility in-person workshop. I think it was freaking amazing. I actually followed a curriculum that I created. And if you're interested in getting a copy of it, I guess I could. I don't know if I saved it or not. I probably did, but we talk about role playing with service calls, how to properly execute the introduction of yourself and your company when you ring that doorbell, how to do that the right way, and key points that need to be performed during every single service call. All right? Diagnosing the problem, discussing why this occurred, approval and complete the repair, how to prevent this from happening again, and get paid. 5 steps. It's actually quite simple. But yesterday, we had 2 Daniels. Daniel 1, Daniel 2. We had Nick. And we also had, and I was surprised, I was really surprised, Derek. Showed up a little late, but Derek took the initiative to invest in himself and learn after the day is over. I say this every so often. I consider my profession, and I can't speak for everyone's profession, but I consider my profession, the plumbing and HVAC trades, where you never stop learning, and you need to learn something new every single day. If you're just the 9 to 5 guy, you put in your 8 hours and go home and then deal with it the next day, all the power to you. All the power to you. Will you advance over time? More than likely, because that's just the way the nature of the beast is, right? But if you put effort in, like you're in school, right? You're in school for 8 hours a day, and then you have homework and a homework assignment. See, that the school doesn't stop. The education doesn't stop once the day is over. You need to continuously learn. I'm not saying do it every single day. If you're an able-bodied adult earning a living in a career, profession, a job. I hate to say that just over broke, but the learning does not stop. So I was quite surprised and very much so welcomed Derek in yesterday evening. And we had a quick little conversation when the class was over. And he actually said, wow, it was like a very informative class. And I was blown away. And I'm like, I'm very glad you're here. And I basically told him what I just told you guys. You got to take initiative if you want to succeed leaps and bounds. If you know what I'm talking about, smash that thumbs up button. It's time for the espresso. So yesterday evening, I followed a curriculum where the first part in after introductions. 10, 15 minutes, no, 10, 15 minutes, seconds. I should do a take two. A few moments, talk about yourself, what you do, and what do you hope to gain from here. And then we went, and I gave a little background of me and history, mechanical background. We went right into how to meet and greet the client, the homeowner, for the first time. Now, this class is primarily designed for residential. The systems that 99% of the time that we work on here is that. So, section 1, we did the role playing, right? And I didn't drill this in enough, but technical skills make you good. Professionalism makes you great. So we set it up to show up like a professional, act like a professional, and diagnose like a professional. Command respect, because a lot of homeowners, a lot of clients, the end user, they're frustrated and they may not know what this is going to cost, and that may be a difficult task for them to achieve, right? So we arrive on time, we park responsibly, we're in a neat, cleaned uniform, with your PPP ready to go. And a successful service call starts before you even show up and knock on the door. Well, before you even knock on the door. You're going to knock on that door within the first 1 minute of arrival. You pull up in front of that job site, home, place of work, whatever it is. From the time you arrive to the time you knock on that door, 1 minute, 60 seconds. You step back, take a few steps back from the front door. Don't crowd the front door. And go down a step if possible. And turn at a 45-degree angle. You're not being in an intimidating posture. Smile and maintain open body language. We respect the customer's property. We roll out the red carpet. We wear the booties. We ask permission before we enter. Don't just open the door and barge our way in. It's may I come in? Don't rush or interrupt the end user, the client, while they're talking. And treat the home better than it was your own. Right? And we go more into more detail. And like I said, if you would like a curriculum outline, email me, Mike at MikeyPipes.com, and I'll email it to you. Now, we spent quite some time on this lab. This right here. Okay, forget about the Whale McLean Ultra 3. This right here. Pretend this is like that. A cast iron boiler, atmospheric venting boiler, right? We have our standing pilot gas control valve, thermocouple, pilot tubing, rollout switch, automatic vent damper, thermostat, fan center relay, also the thermostat relay, circulator. Oh, power's off though, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully it is. On. Yeah, okay. And this is a lab where I have other components set in place. Some look brand new, some look old. I have a gas control valve, which is somewhere here. There it is. Right? Here's a gas valve. A good technician is observing their surroundings, and here's another gas valve. And the service call is actually quite simple. You arrive, you're dispatched for the service call as a no heat service call, unable to light pilot. And your objective is to light the pilot. Now, we went a lot of technical last night in getting this to work, how to test the thermocouple, pilot strength, gas pressure. But in the next session, we're going to execute that again, but now we're going to role play as a helicopter customer hanging out with you and successfully execute the entire service call from start to finish, step by step. All right, now you got the technical stuff hands-on. You did that, right? If you didn't know, now you know. So now we're going to do a real life role-playing service call in the next session on properly executing step by step to execute a perfected service call. Pretty cool. So once we were done with the hands-on making it work, we went over here to this A.O. Smith 50-gallon gas-fired water heater. It was installed for a period of a little over 11 years and was decommissioned and replaced with a newer model. And we talk about the Millivolt strength from the pilot generator, the light that powers, and burner operation. Not too shabby. But most importantly, I believe that we had a great evening last night. We spoke about this for a little bit, but most importantly, we got to be hands-on. And that's what I'm trying to achieve at the training facility that I built here in my shop in Woodmere, New York. I don't charge anything for this. I do this at an expense that I have taken on, but I am a firm believer in doing my part to make the trades great again. Shouldn't be much more longer this video, but and it's not being posted obviously on a Friday morning like this normally would be, because I already have one that dropped this morning, which you guys probably watched, and this one will probably be dropped over the weekend. But yesterday, Thursday, I had a great day. You know, even though I had to shit can someone, still had a great day. It's incredible. And one of the highlights of that day was yesterday afternoon. Maybe it was like 3 o'clock, 3:30. I'm sitting in my home office, catching up on, I was ordering an indirect water heater, and I got a phone call. And I know the phone rang just moments before that, like 10 seconds, 30 seconds before that. So I was like, probably needs to hold the phone. Let me get the phone. So I answered the phone. It's a great day, Pipe Doctor. Mike speaking. How may I make you smile today? And there's a woman on the other line. She goes, Mike, thank you so much for picking up the phone. You are amazing. I don't know how you do it. You are my TV right now, and you are giving away your time and material in your philanthropy organization, your nonprofit. And I'm in upstate New York, and this is amazing. Thank you so much for doing what you do. I would love to know how you got it started and how you did it. Because me and my husband, we are a plumbing outfit up here in the Albany area, and we would love to do this as well. And it's actually not that difficult. It really isn't. So I have a great accountant. And if you guys need an accountant, oh man, this should be a paid collaboration. You hear me, Mr. Accountant? I want 20%. Okay, you can give me 30. If you are if anywhere, as long as your books are online in the cloud, or especially if you're in the Long Island, New York City metropolitan area, and you need a great accountant, I have one for you. Email me, Mike@MikeyPipes.com, and I will hook you up. I'll hook you up with Daniel. He's an amazing guy, and he takes care of all my taxes, payroll, payroll, sales, corporate income, personal income, and my investments that I have. Takes care of everything, and very reasonably priced for what he does. So email me, Mike@MikeyPipes.com if you want a referral. You hear me, Mr. Accountant? You better fucking hook me up, bitch. So I say, listen, you need an accountant. Yes, you could do it by yourself, but you have to form an LLC or a corporation, preferably a corporation, and you need to register this corporation with the IRS as a public nonprofit, a 501c3 organization. You have to submit paperwork. If you're in New York State, you got to submit this kind of like the similar process with the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance. And it may take, a couple weeks or a couple months, but if you get any denial letters, you got to respond to it and act accordingly. But it took us maybe like 2 months since I came up with, let's start a nonprofit, to it actually gotten approved and bank accounts are open with this. And then you need to fund this nonprofit. You don't need to, but if you're trying to do this for, the better good, the greater good, you need to fund it. So Pipe Doctor, we take 2% of our revenue and we transfer it into the nonprofit account. And we also have fundraising, like on YouTube, with the Doing Good or Good for Giving organization, which handles all the donations through YouTube. On the bottom of the screen, you can see here, support our cause, whatever, and through PayPal and through donor advised funds. So it's very nice. We don't really generate that much revenue or income for that, but we aligned ourselves with an amazing manufacturer, the folks over at ACIQ, right there's their equipment, and we've I've been blessed. They're an amazing organization. They make amazing equipment, and support is amazing. I wouldn't say it's second to none. I'm not going to lie here. It's tech support. It's sometimes hard to get someone on the phone, but generally, it's good. And you need to have a platform to offer the services. So I've been blessed with an amazing social media presence, and we handle some cases like we just got yesterday, which you'll see that literally that shit show, that abortion, that the husband who no longer is in the picture did to his family. My God. An oil-fired boiler with probably a tankless coil was in the garage. All right, attached garage. And it was 20 years old and it needed to be replaced, which doesn't really make any sense, but whatever. There's no gas in the home. It's around the corner and it's, 3-4 months away. And apparently someone had the idea to take out this oil-fired hydronic boiler with a tankless coil. I'm assuming it's a tankless coil. And put in an A.O. Smith electric heat pump water heater, which, okay, great. Over oil, amazing, perfect. Forget about solar, if you have that or not, right? But dollar for dollar, when you have an electric heat pump water heater versus an oil-fired water heater at the current cost of energy, right? It is cheaper to deliver domestic hot water with a heat pump than it is with oil. It's a given. Not by much, but it's still cheaper. Maybe 10, 15, 12% around that range, right? And then they put in, let me show you. And they put in this. That white box right there, see next to the water heater? That is an Argo, 40,000 BTU, electric boiler. Piped in my opinion, and based on what I'm seeing on the install manual, wrong. And their electric bill is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars recently in this November month. And it's not manageable anymore. And the homeowner, the woman now, the wife who lives in the house, is in tears, literally in tears. She's sitting on the steps of in her foyer, going up to the second floor of her home. And the home is probably in the low to mid 60s. The boiler is reading, I don't know, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll get up to 180, by the way, but it can't because the load, the demand is just too great because it's 40,000 BTU boiler and you have probably close to like 80,000 BTUs that are needed, right? With hydronic baseboard and a fan coil. And I just shut up and I let her just have her moment. And, God works in mysterious ways, but I was there. I pull up to the customer's home. There's already another contractor working on the boiler. Double booked, right? Anyway, for some reason, I decided we're gonna wait and see what the outcome of this is. And nonetheless, they're gone. We walk in. And I don't take any tools out of my truck. I just visually look at what's in front of me. And how am I going to handle this? Right? How am I going to maintain professionalism while trying to deliver comfort to this family? And I'm like, ma'am, well, you have a couple options. Option number one, and I figure she's already crying already. I'm like, let's get the worst out of the way. You can call up the gas utility, National Grid, and you cry, literally, until they say they're coming next week to install the new gas main and service to your home. And trust me, it can be done. It can. It really can. Right? It's not going to be the same day, but eventually, if you cry enough and you get enough, you connect to the right person, it'll get done. But it's unlikely, but it can happen. And then we will pull the permits, and because oil to gas conversion is, electric to oil, electric to gas. We don't have a meter. We need whatever. So option number two is contact a plumbing company or an oil company that installs oil-fired hydronic boilers and put in a 2-zone boiler and spend $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 to have that installed. I don't, crying and bawling, right? And I let her gain her composure and she's apologizing. Like, listen, no need to apologize. Like, you're in a tough position and I'm going to just do my best to give you professional options that I think that I know will solve the problem here. So I'm looking up, I'm like, no, it's a nice house, It's a staircase that goes up to the second floor. They redid the house and ripped off the roof 20 years ago in 2005. They put in a single zone central air conditioning system that is currently 42,000 BTUs, which is 3.5 tons. Like, okay, there's a reason why I'm here. There's a reason why the other HVAC contractor left. And I feel bad for him because it's not his fault that someone booked an appointment with him and with me, but it just so happens that I'm now there and he's not. It sucks, and hopefully they were compensated for their time or whatever. Just feel bad. It's not right, And I'm not mentioning the company that was there, but, it's a neighborhood HVAC contractor. And the guy, nice, professional guy. Anyway, looking up, I'm like, option number 3 is we could install something similar that you have for your domestic water. The water for your tub, showers, faucets, things like that. Your hot water heater, your heat pump water heater. That for every $1 of energy you give it, it gives you $4 of hot water. Or I can give you an electric HVAC system. So your central air system, as long as it cooled the home properly, and you're confident and content with that, that means the ductwork and distribution is good and sized properly. I can give you an electric heat pump, which operates in the same principle of that water heater. You're extracting the heat that's in the air of the garage. Don't get me started with that, right? And we can bring that heat, in 20-degree weather, 10-degree weather, up to negative 22 degrees of outdoor ambient temperature, and extract that heat and dump it inside your house. It's efficient, right? But if you put solar panels on your roof, this is a win-win, and you'll be turning that frown upside down. She smiles. Wow, yes. I'm doing what I was trained to do, and that's to solve people's problems. Oh, I just got a text message. Wow. Mikey, good morning. Happy Fat Friday. It's Nick from your class last night. I just wanted to thank you for your time. It was really well done class. Looking forward to doing it again, Nick. Awesome. Gotcha. Thank you. So I said, okay, I'll keep it short. I'm sorry. It's probably going to be a 25-minute video, but I said, listen, a job of this caliber with bringing in like a 60 amp line from the electric panel to the outside wall of the house, across to the attic, to the air handler, transitions, all that good stuff, labor, equipment. You're looking at a substantial job. We're not talking about, $1 million here, but, maybe close to 20, the high teens, low 20s of thousands. I'm like, oh, fuck. I was just having her smile. Now she's crying again. And that's when she basically, says, listen, I can't afford this. I'm an educated, mother of several kids. Not these words exactly, but, she's an educated woman, an attractive woman, no less, at the same time as well, even though she's crying, and she's still, she's a pretty woman. And the husband's no longer in the picture, doesn't live there anymore, right? And it sucks, this guy someone decided to, whatever. And I said, so hear me out for a second. I was like, I happen to, I really believe, and I say this, I'm a firm believer that, God will provide and everything happens for a reason. And there's a reason why that I normally wouldn't be waiting if there's another contractor here actively working on the same problem I've been tasked to do. But he beat me to it. I was like, but today, it's a little bit of a quiet day today. And I was like, you know what? You said give you 7 to 15 minutes. I waited. And there's a reason for that. Sorry, guys. And I happen to be quite proud of the work that my company, my team, and I do, and we actively document the jobs that we do, whether it's a repair or it's an installation, and we post it on our social media channels where I have amassed a large audience. Not only of like DIY guys, but other trades, on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. And I was like, and also I've aligned myself and collaborated with certain manufacturers. But a side note of that is that I also started a nonprofit, and this is where I just went like this, like where we provide free or low-cost plumbing, heating, cooling services to those of you who can't afford a high professional. I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am, it just drilled into my head, and I say it quite frequently because I actively promote my nonprofit, which is an IRS-recognized, public organization, 501c3, all that good stuff. But if I could subsidize and offer this option, this third option at a discount, substantial discount, is that something that would align with your finances? And I was like, and I hate to ask, right? And I hate to say this, but if we do go this route, there is an application. It's a grant application form because, again, we are a IRS recognized organization. I do have a board of individuals, right, who need to review this, for accounting purposes and then making sure that, we're not being taken advantage of or that we're not wisely using the funds that we have control over. But it's a real simple application. It's 2 pages. It's your name, information, how many people live here, what your income is approximately. Make sure you're a homeowner. You have to, sign and affirm that you are. And a reference or two. I was like, but while I was talking about this, I can multitask, and I was like, I just was texting my contact at one of these manufacturers who provide the kind of equipment that you need right now. And immediately, she didn't even get the picture yet, and she already wrote yes. So we'll figure out what the end number is going to be. You don't worry about that. But if it's a fraction of what this job would normally be, if that aligns with what you can handle, great. Whether it's a couple $1,000s, great, to pay for just material, whatever, we'll make it happen. Nonetheless, I got her grant application yesterday. The board unanimously approved it, and it shipped from ACIQ headquarters yesterday. So we need to give a huge, huge, huge shout out to the folks over at ACIQ. Nicole, Penny, Tyler, and the whole entire tech support crew. They're an amazing organization. They make an amazing product. As you can see, we installed probably, I don't know, man, I want to say this summer, this 2025 season, maybe 50 systems. I'm being realistic. I'm not making a number up, but I'm going to guess probably, it could have been more, or maybe slightly less, but around 50 systems. I'm not going to say hundreds of systems, no. And we also were able to sign up a lot of dealers who are buying a lot of equipment, and this stuff is great. So check it out, aciq.com/Mikey Pipes. Sign up to become a dealer and align yourself with a great manufacturer of equipment that you're proud to stand behind of, and you will not be disappointed. Happy Friday. God works in mysterious ways, and if you have $1 in your pocket and someone's walking down the block and needs $1, if it's gonna hurt you, I hear you. Hand it over. Chances are it's not gonna hurt you. Give it up. Catch you in the next one. Be well. God bless. Stay safe.